So if you are voting for this, you are voting for the rural-urban boundary to be shifted.
Yep.
And a live urban zoning to be placed on it. And the only thing we're saying is missing is a mechanism for transport provisions.
Right, okay, so you're in effect moving, so Councillor Bill and Councillor Penny, you are moving the acceptance of the IHB's recommendation.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite. Yeah.
Well, aside from the extra bit, but
In
you
a
are moving
procedural
that in effect.
sense.
Yeah, that's in effect what you're doing,
Yep.
okay? You got that? Now, if this fails...
We're hoping it fails.
If it, well, hang on. If it fails, then we will go to the underlying alternative. All right?
The question be put.
I have a question.
Well,
I've got
no.
a question.
Just have a
Yeah,
question.
so just want to make sure we get this right. Remember, it's the old double negative, but this is the way we got to do it. Right, I've got Councillor Ross and then Councillor Penny H.
Only
Yep.
questions.
So just stop so we can get the questions list sorted out.
Which page is it
So-
in here?
It's in the original page 103 and 104
Thank you.
and 105. Okay, so we've got Ross, Penny H, we've got, and another question from John Watson. Okay, these are questions. Right, Councillor Ross.
I just want to go to page 104.
Up.
And I want to ask, so the staff comment there says they accept accept and then support the panel's recommendation on this matter and agree with the reasons provided by the panel. Now, and then it goes further down with the exception of transport infrastructure. Then at the top of that page, one of the reasons the panel give is restricted transportation and other infrastructure capacity issues. The panel envisage that the upgrades and appropriate funding can be reprioritised once the PORP is operative and the Council's long-term plan is reviewed. Now, not only is the panel basically telling us how to adopt and change aspects of the next long-term plan, are the staff actually, by virtually saying they endorse the reasons, are the staff effectively telling us, advising us that we should be doing that in the next long-term plan? I find it unusual the panel would make that recommendation, and I don't know how many other times I've done that through the 1,000 pages, because I haven't read it, but I thought that's getting a little bit outside their bounds, to be telling us what we should be doing in the next review of the LTP.
So the reason that the officers have indicated that the one thing we recommend you reject is the lack of the mechanisms around the provision of transport infrastructure is that we would agree with you that it's not appropriate for the panel to make a comment about funding mechanisms that sit outside the RMA. In saying that, we do need to fix the issue if the governing body does agree that this land should be live zoned with a precinct on it, that in the implementation of that precinct, we need to have conversations about how is bulk infrastructure, how is bulk transport going to be funded, which is why we need that rejection in there if you were inclined to rezone it urban. But totally agree with you, not appropriate to direct the council about the LTP.
Thank you.
Right, Councillor Penny H.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The key here, if we look at accepting this, that's close to the panel's recommendation. I'm just trying to get my thinking lined up. The question I have, and I don't want our staff to try and give legal advice on the hoof, and I realise I could have asked this on Friday and I didn't, and I'm sorry about that. Do we put the rural-urban boundary issue as a regional issue at risk of legal challenge by not accepting this? Or the other way, if we accept the second recommendation, do we put the rural-urban boundary as a regional issue at risk of judicial review or legal challenge in the Environment Court?
So my understanding is that this would, either way, would not put the mechanism of the rural-urban boundary at risk. You've already decided to accept the panel's recommendations on the rural-urban boundary as a district plan standard. This is very much about specific geographical location of the rural urban boundary, and so it would only be that aspect that would be under any consideration if any appeals arose from your decisions.
So the appeals would be site-specific, not regional. Okay, thank you, that's good.
Right, very good. Councillor John Watson.
I think just a process question, Mr Mayor. We're taking the resolution moved by Councillors Cashmore and Webster first,
Yep.
and if that passes, then of course we don't proceed
No.
to B. So that being the case, then obviously I would like to talk to their resolution, because that will be the only opportunity afforded if theirs was to pass, wasn't it?
So yes, although what I think the best way to do it, because it's not how we normally deal with the way. So the best idea, I think, is to speak either for the one that you want to see or speak for the one that is being proposed.
So you open.
Yeah,
and
I just
close
think
it.
it's open
Okay,
slather
yeah,
in that
all right,
sense. Okay?
good, yeah,
Otherwise, we'll be here.
yeah.
Well, it's not the way we've done it thus far. Now, Councillor Cathy, you got a question there?
Yes, I do.
Yep.
I do. I'm a wee bit puzzled. I did some more reading over the weekend. In particular, I looked at the council's closing statement, and I wonder why we focused on transport and not on the closing statement of our planner, Austin Fox. He was very clear that there's an environmental risk as a result of urbanisation within this area that should be avoided. So I don't understand how staff come to your position when you're basically ignoring your own planner's advice.
So I think, as we discussed last week, it's the consideration when we've looked at all of the stuff. We of course start from the baseline of the council's case at the hearing, but we also required to look at the recommendation reports of the panel. And in the recommendation reports of the panel indicated that in terms of considering the various views of experts, they were persuaded by the landowners' experts in this area rather than any other experts. And on balance, when officers read that, they accepted that that recommendation of the panel, because they decided to base their decision, their recommendations on those experts. We're not going to get into a which experts are right conversation, because, you know, with all experts, they all have different opinions. So we were happy to recommend the position of the panel, but there is an element around the transport infrastructure that is still outstanding.
So it was about experts against experts, and you took the developers' experts.
So we took the recommendation of the panel, who indicated that, and they were the ones that listened to all the experts. They were persuaded by the experts that the landowner put up, and so on balance we've accepted that they're the ones that listen to all the expert evidence, and that's why we're recommending that you should accept their main recommendations for this piece of land. We've just got one outstanding concern, which is around the transport infrastructure.
Okay, good. Now, I want to go to speakers, so I've got Councillor John Watson first.
Okay. Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you to the officers also who have worked on this over the recent times, but also the people that have been involved in the hearings process too. I think they've done an outstanding job in collating relevant material and making it very clear. And thank you to the people from the wider Auckland community that have turned up today, and indeed a number of them who have been through the whole 5 days of this hearing on the unitary plan. And I think that's very fitting, Mr Mayor, because this, as we know, is a very important decision here today. Okura, last of Auckland's eastern coastline, unaffected by urban development, and I don't think is perhaps sufficiently emphasised in the slide there. It's peppered with significant ecological area and outstanding natural landscape classification. So this is a very, very special and unique location here that also has a habitat for breeding and feeding ground for endangered and protected birds, and for regenerating marine life. So This all occurs within a very close proximity to the CBD, as was mentioned earlier, and that's really what's at stake in my view, whether this unique, unspoilt wilderness will remain accessible to Aucklanders or will be lost to future generations. That's essentially my argument here, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
And I don't think I'm being melodramatic in that either when we look at actually what the scale of urbanisation that is being proposed under the moving of the rural-urban boundary in the precinct. Basically, urban zoning of 130 hectares of land, I think it actually was 150 on the slide there. The present 26 countryside living lots converted to over 700 houses. So it's a little hard to imagine how that type of intensive suburbia would sit comfortably or harmoniously with the outstanding natural environment that I just referred to a little bit earlier. It's a little incongruous, to say the least. And I think that incongruity has been recognised there with the officer's comments on the two previous Environment Court decisions, and of course the very strong stance taken by us, Auckland Council, in our opening statements and sustained all the way through the hearing process, basically saying that the rural-urban boundary wasn't defensible and there were issues going to the New Zealand Coastal Policy Statement and National Policy and Freshwater Management. But I understand we're not going to go into the specifics of that, but suffice to say the Council presented a very strong, articulate and emphatic view that was backed up by experts. The Councillor Clow referred to the transport notion, which was raised as one of the issues for rejection, and I think he made a good point there, referring to the notion that somehow all other transport spending across our long-term plan would have to be reprioritised to enable this development. I think that was a point well made. But really, and Councillor Casey alluded to this, the unbudgeted transport funding is really the least of it when it comes to Akura. Really, for me, the substantive grounds go to stormwater management, and this is reflected in the very full, very thorough and very defensible clauses that go to the rejection motion, go to stormwater management, and they go to marine ecology. And the Mayor has signalled that exact nature of those arguments is not fruitful to relitigate them here, but other than to say that they are there, they were made by experts, and they are particularly telling. Just one other aside to that, Mr. Mayor, in terms of the belief or the statement made at some junctures there that the current regime in and around Long Bay would be a good learning ground for Okura. I would beg to disagree on that, given our own compliance reports and frequent articles in local newspapers in terms of sedimentation. But really, it is a fairly straightforward decision here, Mr. Mayor, but whichever way you cut it, you either support it or you don't. Yep. If you move the rub, allow urbanisation to the extent that's being proposed here, then that pristine environment is gone. There's no way you can deny that. It's gone, and it's gone forever, which is a little ironic because all around this area, in the immediate area, we have huge future urban zonings. We have massive big mixed housing urban developments just up the motorway in and around Wainui and Silverdale and Dairy Flat, literally thousands of hectares zoned future urban there. So this is an area where there is massive housing that's contemplated in the future and which is occurring right at this very moment. So there's going to be lots of more of housing. There's only one Okura estuary, just one. Once that's gone, it's gone forever. And it's really a shame we weren't sitting up there this morning having our meeting looking at over Okura, because I don't think there'd be any debate if people saw that then. So, Mr. Mayor, I say again, I appreciate the opportunity that is now presented for us councillors to make this very, very important regionally and nationally significant decision on this unique wilderness environment that exists at Okura. And I would just plead with my fellow councillors to do the right thing by present Aucklanders and also future generations, and to vote to reject the panel's recommendation and to support the alternative that have been put up there. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Councillor Wayne?
Sure.